Hey everybody, it's me, Undead Viking. I'm here to talk to you about a game called A.D.A.P.T. Now, this is a game that is going to be in Kickstarter very shortly, if it isn't right now, and I don't have a game box or anything to show you. As a matter of fact, I don't even have any real artwork to show you. I was sent a prototype that was a bunch of cards that has everything that I needed to play it, and I've been having a lot of fun playing it with my daughter. She and I are really big fans of, I'm not going to say like puzzle games, but I mean, it's one of those things where like you have different parts and different pieces that you kind of put together and you create something. And ever since like the game Cartoona, if you remember that video I did with my daughter, games like that have always appealed to us. We've always liked the mismatch and the changing and the connections and what have you. And I personally have always loved games where I build something, where I create something from scratch. And so when I'm done, win or lose, I can point to what I've created and I can say, hey, check that out. Like that's the progression. That's where I ended up as far as this game is concerned. So just so you know, A.D.A.P.T. is a game about creating a fish. It is about creating the biggest, baddest fish in the ocean, and your whole goal in the game is to basically eat or kill or what have you the other fish, which are being played by the other players. You can usually, the two-player games that I've played with my daughter, we usually are able to, bust one out in about 20 or 30 minutes. When you add more players, it does lengthen the time a little bit, but not too much. And it is a very fast, very competitive game, and I do appreciate that the game actually has player elimination. Like a lot of games now kind of shy away from that, and I understand why, but I'm an old school gamer and I dig that part of the game. So let me show you how to play A.D.A.P.T. and then we'll come back here and I'll talk more about what I really like about the game. Alright, this is A.D.A.P.T. Now, I'm going to show you how to play the game with this very bare bones prototype that I have, but I invite you to go ahead and check out the Kickstarter page or the page on Board Game Geek to check out some of the fantastic art that is included in this game. It's really quite beautiful. So to begin the game, each person is going to get a little player board that they're going to go ahead and place their guppy body on. And so like here you have your basic guppy body. It has a level of 0, it has a health of 5, it has a survival of 4, a lethality of nothing, and a ferocity of 0, and there's no bonus power on there. Now health is just what you think it is. It's exactly that. It is health. It's how much damage you can take before you are knocked out of the game and lose. Survival is your defense. If somebody decides to attack you, they're going to have to roll higher than your survival to effectively damage you. Lethality is like basically your skill in attack. Notice how the guppy has no skill in attack. Guppies can't even attack actually unless they can actually get their ferocity score up. And the ferocity, as you can see for the guppy, is 0 as well. If a guppy wants to attack, it has to have at least a ferocity score of 2, and then it can actually successfully attack. Now, other bodies will actually have like a polyhedron number on it, like a D4 or a D6. Let me find one for you. So here is a body of a dolphin, and the dolphin, if you notice, has that D12 up there, and the D12 then would be the number they would roll when they do an attack. Notice how it's also level 5. It's important to note that the level of the body, you start off at level 0, and then you go to level 1, and then you go to level 2, and so on and so forth. You can't ever skip a body level. You can't go from level 1 to level 3, even if you have the experience points to purchase the next level, a higher level body, if you will. So, at the beginning of the game, each person was going to be given a D20, and they're going to go ahead and put that D20 on the 1, and they're going to put that next to their fish. Now, that basically denotes that they have 1 experience, and you use your experience as you gain it to buy body parts. So, the experience point total in the top right on these cards is how much it costs. So, if I wanted to buy this brain, it would be cost me 6 experience. So I'd have to have at least 6 experience to be able to do that. So also at the beginning of the game, what you're going to do is you shuffle up that deck and you put 3 out there, and you're going to have a discard pile over here. Now, that's the gene pool of the game. as people purchase different parts, you're going to take them off, and then you're going to slide things down towards the discard pile, and then you're going to go ahead and fill in the blanks at the end of your turn. Now, at the beginning of the game, what happens is each person is going to roll a D100, and depending on the number of players and your roll, you're going to get one free card that you're going to be able to adapt into your fish, or put in your personal gene pool, and I'll get to that in just a second. Or if it's possible you will just get some bonus experience for the game. So if you roll the dice, and let's see here, I got a 27. So if you look, and this is different for each number of players that you're playing with. But in a 2-player game, with a 27, I automatically get the first card in the row. And I'm going to go ahead, and that would be the shark tail. And notice how it's level 3. Now, unfortunately, you can only adapt things into your fish that are their body level +2 or lower. So I would have to have at least a level 1 body +2, because this is a level 3 item, to be able to adapt that into my fish. But it doesn't mean that I lose this. What I can just go ahead and put this in my personal gene pool, and later on, if I'm able to adapt it onto my fish, I can do so. You can have up to 3 cards in your personal gene pool at any one time. You can't go over that. And then we replace the spot like so. And let's say the other player rolled low. Maybe they rolled a 10. With a 10, they would just get 4 bonus experience points to begin the game. If you roll high enough, you get your choice of the cards. But like I said, it's different for different levels or different numbers of players. So let's just, I'm not going to go through each and every a possible permutation of that. And you can probably check out the rules, and you can read that if you're interested. But regardless, after that is done, everybody gets their either bonus experience, or they get their bonus free part. Then what you're going to do is you're going to begin the game. And each person will take a turn, and then they'll go to the next person. They'll take a turn, and so on and so forth. You're able to take one action on your turn. And the actions that you can do are adapt, buy, attack, a special action, or wipe the gene pool. Now, at the beginning of your turn, the first thing you do, because you've survived, because your fish is swimming around and learning things about life and what have you, you go ahead and get 3 experience. So we're going to go from 1 experience to 4 experience, and you go ahead and set that up. Now, I should also mention that I'm going to take a D10, and you have to also set up your health. And so in this case, I have 5 health, so in case I get attacked, I'm just going to go ahead and put a 5 there, and I'm going to mark that like so I know how much health I have left. So, if I was going to adapt, what that means is that you're just adapting a body or a part that is from your personal gene pool. Now remember, you can adapt any part that is your body +2 and put it onto your board. I can't do that yet. I don't have that. If I had a body part, if I had to have a body level of 1 to go, to swap out if that was what I wanted. Now I can also, if I can't do that, adapt, I can buy. I can just, if I can look at what's available, and then I can buy the card that I want. And so in this case, I'm kind of actually interested in buying this bass mouth. It's level 1. I could add it on immediately like that. Also, you'll notice that there is this marlin horn. That's like for 4 experience I could get that, or for 2 experience I could get the bass mouth. But I kind of like actually having the ferocity instead of the lethality. Ferocity actually helps you with your attack. Lethality just helps you do more damage. But I want to make sure that I can actually hurt somebody. So I'm going to go ahead and buy the bass mouth for 2 experience. Now when I buy that, I can immediately adapt that. I'm going to go ahead and add it to my creature. And then notice how it adds 1 to my health. I'm going to take my die, and I'm going to go from 5 health, and I'm going to go ahead and increase that to 6. Now, you can go backwards. You can, take lower level items and add them to your fish. And you're going to do that when you play the game, because of the fact that the new fish will have a power or an ability, or just have some bonus that's going to work better for you in that situation. if, for whatever reason, you were to replace a part that would actually lower your health bonus and would lower you to like less than 0, you don't die from that. You just have 1 hit point. So you're easy pickings if somebody can pull off an attack, but you can't kill yourself in that case. So, because we've gone ahead and taken that, we're going to go ahead and slide this down like so, and then we're going to go ahead and refill that. Now, another action that you can do in your turn, I can't do it because you only do 1 action, is you can attack. When you attack, and I'm going to explain, actually, let me explain attacks in just a little bit, because that's a little bit more complex, if you will. Now, you can do things that are special actions. Some of these, like body parts, have a thing down there under special. So, like in the organ of brain, it's smart, and that's like has a special ability. Now, that's a passive ability. When you're smart, you just gain bonus experience points at the end of each of your turn. But there are some special abilities that actually are going to give you special actions. There's a jumping ability that allows you to jump out of the water. There is like hide ability that allows you, well, obviously, to hide. There are abilities that allow you to ram other fish, for example, and other things like that. And so basically, if you have a body part that gives you access to one of those special abilities, then you can use that as your 1 action on your turn. Now, also, if you have this situation where you can't buy anything up here and you think they're all kind of garbage, you can do what's called wiping the gene pool, and that takes like all 3 of the cards that are in there and places them to the end, and then you replace them with 3 new cards. Now, since you can't buy any after you do this, and you're kind of wiping it clean for somebody else to go ahead and have a good option on their turn, you'd think, why would I ever do that? Well, you do get a bonus to experience. If you do that, you get a bonus 3 experience for wiping the gene pool. And sorry, I should have paid my 2 for my bass mouth, so I would have been a 2, so now it would be a 5 for wiping the gene pool. So that's it. Now, there's one rule that's very important about wiping the gene pool, is that you can't do it if there is a body part that somebody else at the table could adapt to on their turn. That's so you can't just basically, if there's a good thing out there and you want to prevent somebody from upgrading their body, which is kind of one of the most important things to do in the game, you can't, do that to be a jerk to somebody. You have to give them the chance to adapt into that. Now, with all of those abilities, it is quite possible that you just don't have the ability to take an action when it is your turn. It's uncommon, but it definitely can happen. If that happens, you have to adapt by random selection. So, when you adapt by random selection, you're going to go ahead and roll the D100, just like you did at the beginning of the game. And you're going to adopt by the exact same rules again of that. And that is only if you can't do anything else in your turn, just because you lack the ability to do so. So, that is it. I mean, that's the entirety of the different actions you can take in your turn. Now, I noticed here's a body part of like a piranha. Okay, so I'm just going to pretend it's my turn, and I was able to buy this for the 3 experience. We go ahead and place that in the body, and we get rid of our guppy body, and let me see here, and then because of that, I was able to get my tail out there as well. So there we go. So now I have a shark tail, a piranha body, and the mouth of a bass. And so then on my turn, I decided I want to attack somebody. Now, when I'm attacking, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the total ferocity that I have. So in this case, I have a total ferocity of 5. And let's say I'm attacking a fish that has a survival total of 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take my D4 for my body, for my piranha, and I'm going to roll, and I'm going to add that 5 to my roll. So in this case, I rolled a 2. So I would have a 5 plus 2, 7, equals the survival rating of the fish that I'm attacking, which is 7, which obviously means then I tie. If you tie, it's kind of an interesting thing. If you tie, you do 1 damage to the fish that you attacked, plus whatever your lethality bonus is. In this case, I have no lethality bonus. I don't have a bonus there. But I also would gain a flat 2 experience. Now, if I had rolled a 4, meaning that my total ferocity would have been 9 to a survival rating of 7, I would do the difference in the damage. So I would do 2 points of damage to the fish that I was attacking, plus any lethality bonus. Now, it should be mentioned that your lethality bonus does max out at 4. So if you are in a situation where you got a lot of different parts that allowed you to go ahead and ramp up your lethality super high, you can't just become a giant murder machine on your turn. Now, so I just wanted to show you some, just kind of go through some of these cards so I can show these to you as well. I already showed you that dolphin, but the thing is obviously the designer went to great lengths to research fish and research what the fishes are. As far as wahoo fish, well, I mean, lungs, and as far as amphibious, and perfect example, tail. Thresher. I don't know if you know what a thresher shark is, but thresher sharks have these huge long tails. And so if you notice that it kind of lowers your survival, but it has the ability to stun. Thresher sharks actually use their tails, and they slap fish with their tails to stun them, and then so that they can turn around and then eat them as well. So I mean, it actually does make sense with some of the different powers and different abilities that these body parts have. Remember I mentioned the jumping ability? So here's a flying fish, and obviously they have a jump rating of 2, and they can jump out of the water. There are some pretty awesome high-level bodies of fish too as well that you can probably guess, here you have Jaws, of course, the great white. So it's a D10, and notice how it has that huge ferocity and health, and a pretty good survival rating as well. And so, I mean, there's stuff like that, and I was always a really big fan of sharks when I was a kid. I read lots of shark books, and so I was really excited to see all the different shark abilities and powers that the game had. The game is it's fast and it's quick, and a lot of games like this that I have fun building the fish, and this is definitely one of those things that as you play it, and I like to watch my fish kind of adapt and change and become something new and wacky and strange. And this is why these games kind of appeal to me. I like that whole building something. And when I played this with my daughter, she and I had a lot of fun because we like to imagine, what that fish looked like, with a thresher tail and a clownfish body, and a sawfish, horn, and so it's you get this image of this great thing. And like I said, I don't have the pictures right now, but I can only imagine that when I do have the actual artwork for all those crazy different parts, it's going to look even cooler and even more amazing at that point. So, alright, so let me tell you more about why I dig A.D.A.P.T. In my conclusion. Alright, thank you very much for watching the how to play A.D.A.P.T. portion of this video. Well, maybe you didn't watch it, but I'm assuming you did. So, I kind of touched the major reasons why I like the game both in the introduction and also while I was showing you how to play. But let me just reiterate again. I dig games that allow me to build something. And I also dig games that, kind of tell me a story while I'm playing it. There was a game, I'm going to forget the name of it now, but I mean, there was a game that came out, I'm guessing about 6 years ago, that was all about evolving your creature, and then as your creature evolved, you started off as this microscopic bacteria, and then you grew to an organism, and then that organism became something else and became a bigger thing, and eventually you became sentient, and then you had a civilization, and so on and so forth. And I enjoyed the game. It had its shortcomings, but it kind of lost a little bit as you went along. But the thing about the game that I always loved was that I remembered the very, very basic beginnings that I started with and where I ended up. Oh, Spore, that was the game. And I liked that about the game. I just, because you had this journey, you had this progression, and A.D.A.P.T does that. I start off as this little tiny guppy, and I have this journey, I have this adaptation, I have this story that my guppy tells, and like he starts off as this little tiny fish, and then all of a sudden he gets a really cool clownfish body, and then he gets the mouth of a barracuda. And then he gets the dorsal fin of a shark, and he gets the side fin of a dolphin, and things like that. And I like that. I mean, and it's just like it has this like crazy wacky creation that ostensibly you're putting together to wreak havoc on the other players, but also you're making your own signature organism, if you will, and to watch my daughter play the game and just have her like giggle as she adds these crazy pieces onto the puzzle, so to speak, really made me happy. And I did play with my gaming group, and we had a lot of fun, as far as like, and it was much more strategic and tactical in that case, because we were like, looking, okay, I definitely need, a bonus to my survival skill right now. I'm getting kind of hammered. I definitely need this special power of echolocation here. Things like that. But it was fun on both ways that I played it were fun, but for different reasons. I did mention the designer contacted me after I played it several times and asked me if there was anything about it that I didn't like. I would change, or that I found like somewhat lacking. And the only thing I had to say was there were some things, my daughter being 8, that just were a little beyond her as far as some of the special abilities. They were a little complex, and I mentioned that to him, and then he came back to me like less than a day later, and he said, I play tested a brand new version. He said, take all the cards out that are in the corners. So take out the specials, take out the organs, take out the horns, and take out the skin, and just play with the orthogonal cards. And it'll be much more straightforward. And it'll be something that like your daughter will be able to grasp like probably a lot quicker. And we played like that, and he was right. And so in a way, like if you're wondering if you have a kid that or a child that like you want to have this game, you can very easily pare it down a little bit. And with less cards, obviously the game plays a lot faster. I know children can have a shorter attention span, of course, but when we did that, the game kind of went to a different level for her, and she ended up having a lot more fun when we played it. And I really like that variation, if you will. The thing that's cool about the game, and like I said, go check out the art. It's really beautiful. But the thing about it is that when and if this game has expansions or goes and has more to it, I really look forward to like where it goes as far as like more cards and more parts and more abilities and what have you, because I really think that this is one of those games that's going to be very easy to expand upon without really monkeying with the core mechanisms of the game itself. And I'm a big fan, as you probably know, of expansions that don't mess with how the game is played. They just give me more stuff and more options, and I like those things. And so and the thing is that you get a ton of cards as it is with the game, and with even more cards, it would be even more fun, in this guy's humble opinion. So there you go. That is A.D.A.P.T. Go ahead and check out the game. If you have any questions about how to play or anything at all, by all means ask away. I'll be happy to answer that to the best of my ability. As always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, I'm the Undead Viking, and I'm telling you to have yourself one heck of an awesome day. Alright, bye-bye.